Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. I'm going to be completely honest. This episode didn't do anything for me. It made me sit there and think, did I just wake up on the wrong side of bed? On the wrong side of the bed? Because I did a review earlier of Days, and I really didn't like that episode either. But I will give that, will give that episode credit because as bad as it was, it at least kept to the main story. Now, this was a celebration of Laura of being, on the show for X amount of episodes. Okay, that's great. I really felt like they could have just gave her a cake, post some pictures on Instagram and say, thank you for your time being on this show and yada, 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 have a little small party. Okay, cool. But we made an entire episode about a recount. And in the end, although they found the group, nothing really got solved. And as far as her status, as far as being mayor, it's still up in the air. And throughout this episode, they form some sort of strategy, sit there and see who's behind this group that is trying to, that's calling for this recall of ballots. They find some of the people that's responsible for this group called the Friends of Port Charles. They go through Miss Wu and they go right to Cyrus. The sad part is that when she gets to Cyrus, and she's like, why are you doing this for? When Cyrus points out all the problems and all the things going on in Port Charles and why people want her gone, it's one of those things where it's like, well, it's not like he's wrong. And so towards the end of the episode, she's ready for her rebuttal. But her rebuttal doesn't answer any of the problems that people are having with her being mayor. All she says is, yeah, there's a lot of problems in Port Charles and there always will be problems. But there's good people like small businesses and the firefighters and the cops and the community and this, that, and the third. I'm like, wait, that's your answer for why you should still be mayor? That's your answer for all the problems that our people that they're talking about towards why you are mayor? That solved absolutely nothing. I mean, this episode really didn't do anything anyway, except for, obviously it was a celebration for Laura. They went to some flashbacks, really old stuff with her and Bobby. When they were fighting over Scotty and everything like that. Scotty wants to sit there and try to get married to Liesl, but Liesl said no, and he pretty much was just okay with it. This episode didn't really do anything. I wrote some notes, but it's like, Carly went to, because they had this strategy meeting, and Carly was involved, and I think Sam and Curtis and some other people. Carly went to Ned because she thought that Ned was behind the whole, getting Laura kicked out of mayor. But when the thing is, she comes in and she's like, well, you're the person that sat there and did this article and yada, 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 yada. Because, the Quartermaines are dishonorable people or whatever. And I'm like, you could just came in there and asked him, was he behind this whole smear campaign or this whole trying to get rid of Laura? Get rid of Laura. But instead, you came in there and accused him. And I'm like, you had no proof that he did anything. And of course, this was a great opportunity for Olivia to sit there and talk all the good things that the Quartermaines are, and yeah, we fight and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm not going to lie, like that speech at the end of it, I was like, I'm pretty sure that touched a bunch of people's hearts and everything. Now, I knew I was in trouble before I started watching it on this site, and I was sitting there reading at the bottom, and somebody was like, well, this is an emotional episode. And I sat there and I was like, great, so this episode is not going to really touch on anything about any of the stories that's going on with anyone. You had Sunny that was waiting, I guess to be treated along with Violet because Violet had poison Ivory and Sunny was going to art boxing. And I feel like in the next episode, they're not even going to really sit there and talk about that too much. Like, this episode served no purpose whatsoever. Well, nearly no purpose whatsoever. As far as storylines, like, if you didn't watch it yet, I don't really think you need to watch it, really. I mean, doesn't really do anything. Doesn't really solve anything. Um, I mean, if you're a lore fan, then yeah, by all means, watch it. They had a bunch of other people in there. They had Spencer and Nicholas and Ava and Victor, and it's like they just try to throw in so many goddamn people. After a while, I was just like, I'm not even gonna bother to write half of these names because none of this really matters. I know I've been saying that for a while, and I think that's part of the reason why I'm so annoyed about this episode is that it was a 35-minute waste of time for me. Because it went absolutely nowhere, and it made me even sit there and think, should I even bother to do a review on this? I mean, what am I doing a review on? None of the stories, like, didn't really go anywhere. And hell, the one story that they were supposed to sit there and be focusing on didn't go anywhere. Like, oh my goodness, this is such a bad episode. Now, if you like the episode, that's great. I'm not knocking you. It's just me personally, this really didn't do anything for me. Except for just annoyed the living hell out of me. Probably gonna sit down and watch Brock TV video when it comes out to sit down and see his take on it. I usually don't, for just we'll say reasons. Not that I have anything against the guy. Usually, sometimes I do, but I don't know. I really didn't like this episode and didn't really do anything. I really don't know what else to sit there and say. I know tomorrow is obviously going to be a much better episode because they're actually going to be focused on stuff instead of whatever the hell this episode is supposed to be. But I feel like that's pretty much about it. Such a waste of time. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video. Much better video.